At the film's beginning, we are taken back to an event from 1981. During this time, the Prime Minister of India, Rashmi Kasan, authorized the execution of the nation's most infamous criminal, Rakeen. She insists that no one should be aware of his existence, as he is not mentioned in any historical records. The narrative then shifts to the present day, where we meet Anand, a seasoned journalist who is working on an article about this criminal case. However, just before the article is scheduled for publication, the government intervenes and bans it, leading to the destruction of all printed copies. Despite this, the owner of a news channel manages to obtain a copy at a substantial cost. A female journalist on the channel reads the article aloud but expresses that she has no memory of the events described. In response, the channel owner reassures her that he has known Anand for many years and that Anand is very meticulous in his writing. He only tackles difficult subjects, especially those the government has tried hard to suppress. Clearly, there is a significant reason behind the government's actions. Shortly after, Anand is summoned to the channel for an interview, marking the start of an important discussion. The female journalist asks Anand if the article he wrote on the subject contains many names. She wonders if it's a mix of half-truths and imagination. In response, Anand explains that throughout history, the treasures of empires have been hidden away, and while some have found them, many have not. The one who discovered this treasure didn't conquer the world. He simply shared the article with someone significant. Anand insists that every word in his article is true and that he can provide proof. Next, he mentions KGF. Intrigued, the female reporter begins to search through newspapers from 1950 to 1980 but finds no mention of KGF. Now curious about the incident Anand described, she asks who wrote the article and what actions they took. Anand then begins to share his story. The scene shifts to 1991, where a group of farmers is digging a well about 18 kilometers from the city of KGF. During their digging, they uncover some remarkable stones. Government officials arrive to investigate, accompanied by a man named Suryavardhan. Upon examining the stones, Suryavardhan realizes they are not ordinary, they are gold. To keep the gold mining in KGF a secret, he murders the government officials. Meanwhile, we learn that Rocky is born on the same night. At a young age, his mother remarries, but soon after, she leaves her husband and runs away. Despite the challenges, she raises Rocky on her own. However, she later falls seriously ill. During this time, Suryavardhan exploits the situation, claiming the area for stone mining and securing a 90-year lease from the government. He brings in workers from afar to labor in the gold mines. As Rocky grows up, he begins saving money for his mother's medical treatment, determined not to give up on her. Seeing her condition, his mother reassures him that being born into poverty is acceptable, but she wants him to know that he should strive to be the strongest man in the world by the time he dies. Eventually, Rocky's mother passes away, leaving him to wander the streets. He realizes that those with power can succeed in life. In search of that power, he moves to Bombay, which is then a bustling hub for gold mining. To gain influence, he aligns himself with the gangs of Inayat Khalil and Shetty in Dubai. Upon arriving in Bombay, he joins the Shetty gang and starts polishing shoes on the streets of Mumbai, trying to survive and make his way. A few days later, Rocky discovers that a police officer is hindering the operations of their gang. The police claim that no one in the gang has the guts to eliminate him, prompting Rocky to volunteer for the task. His boldness astonishes the others, and to their surprise, Rocky actually goes through with killing the policeman. After this, Rocky makes his way to Shetty's house. Shortly after, he is released from the police station and taken to Shetty, where he begins working for him. He spends some time in this role, and then we flash back to the events of 1978. The war between Afghanistan and Iran strains the relationship between America and Russia, causing market prices to soar, particularly the price of gold. This situation allows Suryavardhan to solidify his empire. Suryavardhan's empire is built on 5 pillars, with gold being the foremost. He extracts raw materials from KGF to produce gold, which is then meant to be distributed in Bangalore to Rajendra Desai and to Andrews on the western side. His most powerful ally is his brother, Adhira. Suryavardhan's son, Garuda, also enters the family business, helping to maintain the security of KGF. However, one day, Suryavardhan suffers a heart attack. This triggers a wave of espionage among the KGF members, leading to the first signs of rebellion within KGF. Meanwhile, Inayat Khalil, based in Dubai, allies with Garuda and starts sending his gold to Bombay. Before the gold arrives, Garuda's gang attempts to seize control of all of Bombay. They systematically target members of the Shetty gang for elimination, with assistance from the police. However, no one can locate Rocky, prompting everyone to search for him. Meanwhile, the ships carrying gold from Dubai arrive in Bombay. Garuda's son declares that the boats will remain at sea until they find Rocky. At that moment, Rocky is tied up and surrounded by the entire Garuda gang, who are determined to kill him. The boats anchored offshore are also instructed to prepare for action. News of Rocky's capture reaches the Shetty gang. In this turmoil, Karim Chacha, who has known Rocky since childhood, comments that all the criminals in Bombay are now ensnared in Rocky's trap, unaware of the extent of his abilities. As Garuda's gang moves in to kill Rocky, he fights back and takes them down one by one. During the chaos, Garuda's son manages to escape, but Rocky pursues him relentlessly. The others around them are bewildered by Rocky's singular focus. When Garuda's son looks into Rocky's eyes, he is filled with fear. This time, Rocky binds Garuda's son with rope and tosses him into the sea. Witnessing his imminent drowning, the members of Inayat Khalil quickly turn their boats around and flee. In this way, Rocky successfully protects Mumbai from the clutches of Garuda's gang. Meanwhile, Rocky's aunt approaches Andrews, who is acquainted with Rajendra Desai. She informs him that she has identified those responsible for Garuda's death. Andrews then personally meets with Rocky and proposes that if Rocky completes a job in Bangalore, he will grant him control over all of Mumbai. Rocky agrees to this offer. For the first time, Rocky observes Shetty engaging in a fight, realizing the extent of his losses. However, he feels even greater fear than Shetty does. With this, Rocky sets off for Bangalore. Upon arriving in Bangalore, Rocky spots Reena, the daughter of Rajendra Desai, who is blocking the main road while celebrating with her friends. Overjoyed to see her for the first time, Rocky's happiness quickly turns to concern as he realizes that Reena is furious with him and has sent her men to confront him. Rocky manages to evade her gang and escapes the scene, further infuriating Reena. Shortly afterward, Rajendra Desai's men capture Rocky and bring him to their hideout, where Kamal is, who is actively searching for Rocky. Daya, Andrews' right-hand man, informs Andrews that Rocky is responsible for causing trouble for Reena. Andrews acknowledges this and instructs Daya to keep Kamal away from Rocky. Andrews then orders Rocky to be eliminated in the hideout. Daya provides Rocky with detailed information, mentioning that a function will be held soon at the DYSS party office, which will serve as the hideout. Rocky goes to check out the location, but Daya insists that a photo is unnecessary. If Rocky shows up, he will learn everything he needs to know about Bangalore. Daya then tells Andrews that Rocky has come to kill someone, although Rocky himself is unaware of this. Upon hearing this, Andrews remarks that no one would have taken such action if they had known who the target would be. Meanwhile, Kamal's men are scouring the streets of Bangalore in search of Rocky. They eventually track him down to a hotel, where Reena is also brought in to identify him. In the hotel, Reena encounters Rocky once more, but Kamal's men are unable to lay a finger on him. Rocky then takes Reena with him in his car, and they drive away together. Shortly thereafter, Rocky comes across a woman holding a small baby boy in her arms. The sight of the child reminds him of his own mother. As the woman drops a piece of bread, she bends down to pick it up. At that moment, Rocky halts all traffic on the road, retrieves the bread, and hands it to her. Witnessing this act of kindness, Reena, who had previously harbored negative feelings towards Rocky, begins to develop a sense of admiration for him. After a while, the police stop their car. As they do, some trucks are passing by under police escort. Suddenly, a car appears in front of one of the trucks, causing it to come to a stop. The police work to clear the road, while Kamal's men are also on the lookout for Reena, but fail to spot Rocky. Unbeknownst to them, Rocky quietly slips away. The scene then shifts back to 1981, where Anand seeks information about Rocky from a source. This person recounts an incident involving Rocky, explaining that he was once arrested by the police for speeding. The officers wanted to know Rocky's name and see his driver's license, but he refused to provide any information. At that moment, Rocky lights a cigarette in front of the police station chief who then walks away. Rocky casually discards his cigarette. Chaos erupts in the police station as officers scramble around. Outside, cars are lined up and helicopters hover above. Suddenly, someone presents Rocky's driver's license to the police station chief. Upon seeing it, he raises his hand, picks up his cigarette, and tosses it to the ground. Another officer then examines the license, but instead of a name, it shows a letter for Rocky. At the mention of Rocky's name, both the police and the criminals turn their attention to him. Although they have all heard of Rocky, none have seen him clearly before. The scene shifts back to the present, where the female journalist, Anand, mentions that she has made significant progress in the story. However, she suddenly begins to recount her narrative from the beginning. She notes that when Rocky sees the trucks loaded with gold en route to Mumbai and Bangalore, it confuses him. At that point, Rocky decides to travel to Bangalore on horseback. After learning about it, the gold was smuggled into Mumbai under the assumption that it was coming from Africa. However, it becomes clear that this gold is not sourced from Africa at all. This raises the question of where it actually originates. Meanwhile, Andrews questions Rajendra Desai about the family's visit to Bangalore, asking for assurances. Desai responds that everyone will surely come to see the inauguration of his father Suryavardhan's statue in front of the party office. In a club, we find Rocky, where he encounters Reena and Kamal. Reena suggests that if possible, Rocky should make his presence known in front of Kamal. After hearing this from her, Rocky decides to leave. However, shortly after, he sneaks into a petrol tank, filling the entire club with gasoline. He then approaches them, cigarette in hand, despite being intimidated by everyone from the south. At that moment, Rajendra Desai arrives and instructs Kamal and Reena to leave. He then confronts Rocky, asking how he managed to get himself into this situation. Rocky confidently replies that he intends to kill him inside the party office. Andrews interjects, warning that it won't be easy to bring a gun into the venue since everyone is thoroughly checked before entry. Rocky responds that if he is provided with a gun, he will certainly complete the task. In response, Desai agrees to give Rocky the weapon. Next, at the DYSS party office, a large crowd gathers. Garuda's car arrives, prompting Daya to approach Rocky. He collects the components of a gun from partners positioned along the road, assembles it, and prepares to give it to Rocky. Just then, Garuda's associates emerge from their hiding spots and aim their weapons at Rocky. Garuda enters and tells Desai that his father has a lot of trust in them, which is why he has come to uphold their agreement. However, instead of a sunrise, Garuda unveils his own statue, leaving everyone astonished. This development ruins their plan to eliminate Garuda. As Garuda departs, Andrews and Desai grow increasingly anxious. Desai insists that they must kill Garuda to survive the fallout. Andrews counters that they have missed their chance and now need to confront him in his territory. He questions who would dare to go there. Rocky steps forward, declaring that he will take on the task and finish what he came to do, eliminate Garuda. The scene shifts to Rocky's childhood, where his mother gives him an amulet, urging him to keep it close at all times. Before heading out, Rocky hands the amulet to Reena. Meanwhile, Andrews creates a map based on information from locals and shows it to Rocky. He explains that the rest of the group must go to the designated area to locate him. When Rocky is ready to confront Garuda, he will signal them. Andrews outlines the only route to reach the location, mentioning that Garuda's men are heading to a nearby village where people are waiting to be killed. Rocky's mission is to blend in with the villagers there. This time, Rocky heads to the village where Garuda's notorious hitman is present. There, he encounters some of Garuda's goons and manages to get into a truck. The other goons assume that they have perished in an internal conflict. Now, Rocky's task is to lead them to a specific location. We then flash back to an earlier incident when Suryavardhan falls ill. During this time, he is asked who will take his place as leader. Instead of entrusting the empire to his brother Adhira, he passes the responsibility to his son Garuda. This decision infuriates Adhira, who retaliates by attacking Garuda, but Garuda is unable to kill him. Consequently, Adhira leaves KGF. Meanwhile, Rocky is brought to KGF, which Suryavardhan has named Narachi, meaning the Golden Empire. The area is heavily guarded, with numerous sentries overseeing the captured individuals. The security is under the command of Vanaram, who is responsible for maintaining order in Narachi. As the captives are brought inside, They are branded with hot iron, marking their status. Many of these individuals have been trapped there for years, some for as long as 20 years. Among them are small children who have known no other life. On the other side, we see Garuda, who is protected by 3 guards. These guards have come with the intent to kill him, but Garuda treats them with respect. Adhira is puzzled by Garuda's behavior and soon discovers that Garuda has not been sent to KGF this time. Instead, he plans to eliminate the 3 guards. Meanwhile, a worker assigns tasks to the newcomers, indicating that they have been brought in for mining operations. These newcomers are required to work underground for 12 hours a day. If any worker sustains an injury or is deemed unfit to work, the guards at Narachi will begin to execute them without mercy. The next morning, the guards are taken underground, where they discover gold embedded in the stones, gold that has been rumored to exist in Bombay for some time. Vanaram is taken aback when he learns that some newcomers die upon arrival. Days pass, and Rocky observes everything closely: the guards' movements, their numbers, and when they come and go. Meanwhile, Andrews reveals that he has only shown Rocky half of the map. To reach Garuda's palace from their current location, Rocky must navigate a tunnel located beneath a watchtower. Finding that tunnel requires accessing the maintenance room at Narachi, which is nearly impossible to reach, but it is the only option available. One day, a child accidentally crosses the white line marked by the guards while playing, leading to an unexpected incident. To save her son, the boy's mother crosses the forbidden line, but the Narachi guards show no mercy. They brutally kill both the mother and her child in front of everyone, a shocking display of authority that makes Rocky realize the extent of the security measures in place for the captives. In this grim environment, Vanaram is ordered to feed the workers, who are all sitting with empty stomachs. Amid their suffering, they hear tales from a madman who roams the area, constantly speaking of a liberator. This madman believes that one day, a hero will arrive to free them from their tormentors and bring justice to their hellish existence. At one point, the guards position a trolley filled with fodder at a distance and command the workers to retrieve it. As the workers move towards the trolley, the guards open fire, shooting them down mercilessly. The others flee in terror, but Rocky remains behind. Although the guards shoot at him, trying to intimidate him, Rocky stands firm and shows no fear. Rocky takes the trolley ticket and brings it to the workers, beginning to help them with their tasks. As he spends more time with them, he gradually develops a deep affection for the people in Narachi. One day, Rocky decides to create a diversion by setting a fire outside the maintenance room, successfully distracting the guards. This allows him to sneak inside. Once in the maintenance room, he examines the map but fails to identify the location of the watchtower, which is crucial for accessing the area of Saraswati Ghat. Nevertheless, Rocky gains valuable information and returns to the workers, eager to share his findings. However, one of the workers notices him, and Vanaram realizes that the incident outside the maintenance room was not an accident. Someone must have gone inside and inspected the map, as evidenced by the burn marks left behind. To uncover Rocky's identity, Vanaram decides to approach the group of workers, knowing that the guards will soon arrive. When the guards show up, Vanaram warns the workers that whoever was in the maintenance room is now among them. He emphasizes that if they don't find out who it is, the guards will kill everyone present. Vanaram is left in a state of uncertainty, unsure of how to proceed. Next, we meet the man who witnessed Rocky enter the maintenance room. His pregnant wife has also been captured, and he selflessly sacrifices himself in front of the guards to protect her. Meanwhile, Andrews learns that the people he sent on a mission have been killed by the guards, leaving him frightened and worried. On the other side, Reena hears the same distressing news and breaks down in tears. Shortly after, the woman gives birth to a daughter. The mad woman takes the newborn and places her beside Rocky. While in the maintenance room, one of the workers remarks that the man sacrificed his life to save his child, but questions the point of it all since the guards will likely kill the girl. The mad woman then notices Rocky's finger and urges him to save the child. Hearing her plea, the worker reflects on the mad woman's tales, asking if her stories could truly hold any truth that might lead to salvation from their dire situation. He expresses his regret and despair over their circumstances. Eventually, Rocky drifts off to sleep, lost in thoughts of his mother. Suddenly, Rocky loses his composure and urges everyone to forget their fears and focus on their work. Meanwhile, the guards have captured the madman. Realizing they can't effectively manage the situation, they lift the old man and drag him away. Rocky begins to wonder how long the old man will survive under these conditions, but then he sees the innocent child's face, reigniting his determination. In a sudden burst of energy, Rocky seizes a hammer and strikes a guard, causing the workers to flee in shock, as they have never witnessed such a display of defiance before. Another guard rushes in, but Rocky systematically takes them down one by one. He continues to push forward, determined to free the old man. The remaining guards, fearing for their lives, hide in the shadows. Rocky confronts them and eliminates each one. Outside, the workers are in a frenzy, unable to comprehend the chaos that has unfolded inside. This time, Rocky successfully rescues the old man and captures a guard. In a twist of fate, Rocky and the other workers turn the tables on the guards, killing them in the same brutal manner they had previously faced. Rocky then sets the guards ablaze and signals Andrews. Virat, the brother of one of the guards, informs Andrews of the situation. Seeing the flames, the guards rush toward the scene. To prevent them from intervening, Virat uses a hammer to kill Suryavardhan. The news of the prominent leader's death spreads quickly, causing everyone to abandon their tasks and head to the scene. Inayat Khalil and Adhira have been waiting for this moment for a long time. As the guards pay their respects to Suryavardhan, they prepare to perform the Kalima Puja, intending to eliminate any remaining threats. That night, there was chaos throughout Narachi. When Vanaram goes to investigate, he discovers that someone, specifically Rocky, has caused a short circuit, cutting off the lights. He is astonished by this development. Meanwhile, the guards head to the security house, searching for Rocky. At this time, the guards are performing the Kalima Puja and have brought 3 prisoners for sacrifice. They begin the ritual, one prisoner at a time. The workers, witnessing this turmoil, become increasingly angry. Meanwhile, Vanaram finds a corpse beneath the house, indicating that one of the 3 prisoners is dead. In response, Vanaram attempts to communicate the news to Ramana via wireless, but Ramana struggles to understand him. Meanwhile, the guards have already sacrificed 2 of the prisoners, and it is now the 3rd prisoner's turn. This prisoner is to be submerged in water before the sacrifice begins. Just then, the guards inform Ramana about Vanaram's situation. Before Ramana can take any action, Rocky emerges from the water, and the workers pull him away from the head of the sacrifice. The ground is covered in mud, further emphasizing the chaos of that happening. After so many years of oppression, the workers finally catch a whiff of freedom for the first time. Observing this change, Andrews' men realize that Rocky has killed the guards. However, Andrews remains skeptical and refuses to believe them. Meanwhile, news of the guards' deaths reaches Rasmika Sen and the other prisoners, who suspect that KGF has orchestrated a conspiracy against them. They fear that KGF will once again impose its rule over them, unaware that Rocky has established his own stronghold in this situation. Anandji reflects on Rocky's initial encounter with the guards, noting that Rocky understood early on that if he were to be killed, he would never gain control of the entire empire. This insight motivated him to eliminate the guards. Additionally, he recognized that to effectively govern this society, he needed to build an army. By killing the guards in front of everyone, Rocky not only demonstrated his power, but also dispelled the fear that had long gripped the workers. This act transformed them into his loyal army. At this point, Vanaram hesitates to act against Rocky, while the remaining guards aim their weapons at him, creating a tense standoff.